Tonight on Best Bits. Brad Katona got factory reset. Marc-Andre Barriault personally ejected Bruno Silva from the UFC and his soul from his body. Jasmine Judavicius did a thing. And Mike Malott shows there's still hope for the men of Canada. Welcome back to Best Bits. Today we're taking a look at UFC 315, Belal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. Pretty decent card, little slow, little quick, little slow. It started off pretty good, died down a little bit, picked up towards the middle, died off a little bit more, and then ended with a bang. We even got a decent fight out of Belal Muhammad, which was a surprise for everybody. Even the Belal fans were shocked. We're going to be starting off talking about Jose Aldo, the legend Jose Aldo, Hall of Famer, former champion, absolute legend. Definitely not in his 40s, that's my speculation. He spent the whole fight trying to manage his gas tank. He spent round 1 and 2 just kind of managing his gas tank and doing as little as possible and just kind of staying in the fight. And I think he did well in round 1, but round 2 kind of got away from him. At the start of round 3, he came out hell to leather, like all guns blazing, vintage Jose Aldo, trying to get the finish, ferocity, viciousness, pure violence. Absolutely, Zahabi, that's the guy's name, absolutely put a beating on Zahabi, absolutely put a beating on him. Soccer kicks to the face as he was picking himself off the ground, legal shots by the way. 2 soccer kicks to the face and like a knee as well, and Zahabi just ate all of them, staggered round for a minute and then regained his composure. I think Aldo gassed himself. I think he saved everything to try and finish it later in the fight, trying to put him away at the start of round 3. He really did, and it just didn't happen. And he used everything he had left, and he just kind of lay down. Just kind of lay down and pulled guard, which is crazy. He shot a takedown. You never see Jose Aldo, never see him shoot a takedown. But he shot a takedown, then he pulled guard, and they just kind of lay there for the remainder of the round. And then Aldo retired. He said his heart wasn't in it. Not just the weight cut, he missed weight by quite a bit. They had to move it to a lightweight fight or something. So he missed weight by quite a bit. And now he's potentially retired. Fair enough. I don't think there's much point in taking any more damage. He ate some vicious elbows on the ground. He probably didn't need to, but I guess he didn't want to get finished, and he still didn't get finished. You know, he still lasted to the end of the fight. He still went the distance. So I'd say that's a good point to end it. To be honest with you, he was on a decent little streak. Couple of spotty losses in his age, but that's fine. Lots of decision losses that could go his way as well. You know, he's got to make it clear. It wasn't as one-sided to Zahabi as maybe I've just made it sound. He was conserving his energy, but he was doing enough to keep it competitive, and so there were arguments to say, like, you know, he potentially did better in rounds 1 and 2 than the judges gave him credit for. Round 3, it was kind of he definitely won round 3. He landed more damage. He did eat elbows at the end, but if you compare the two, I suppose the elbows even it up, but if you compare the two, the damage was in round 3 was definitely in favour of Aldo just from the start. But then it's also the judges see the end of the fight, which was Aldo on bottom pulling guard and shooting a takedown, you know, from exhaustion and laying there and just accepting getting elbowed in the face, compared to a few minutes earlier where he was, you know, the ended on a note which was in favour of Zahabi. So you can see kind of like, yeah, Aldo did do well, but did he do enough to keep the round if he ended up on his back and getting held down? I see the justification. I do think Zahabi won. Zahabi, I don't know how to say it. I do think he won, and I think it's a good decision for Aldo to retire now. I think he's in his 50s. Honestly, I think he's in his 50s. I think, you know, born in Rio in like the 80s, the 70s. You know, poor documentation, poor family. Who knows? Who's to say? Valentina Shevchenko. Now, this fight for me was kind of spotty. So I think Valentina won, but I don't think it was as dominant as people were making out to be. I think she ate some counters ate some elbows as well, like some step-in elbows. That kind of like, it kind of felt like she shouldn't have been getting caught by. It felt like she thought she was better than her opponent, and she was better than her opponent. But it's like it was like she knew that, and so she was kind of trying to, I don't know. I mean, she was landing things like, she landed like 3 hooks, 3 right hooks in succession, or like 3 left hooks in succession, just 1, 2, 3. Like, no defense against a longer opponent as well. Against a longer opponent, she'd just quickly step to the outside and just land like 3 consecutive hooks or 2 consecutive hooks. Powerful shots as well. And it was like Farot just kind of ate them, and then she'd return with like a body kick. It felt like Farot had a lot of trouble getting going, but then of course she's fighting Valentina, so you've got to figure out the puzzle that is Valentina, who is excellent everywhere. I don't know, I just didn't feel as dominant as I expected it to be. I expected Valentina to do better in the grappling. She kind of got held against the fence. It was like Farot knew she wasn't as good in the stand-up or on the ground, so she kind of had to keep it in that middle area, which made it quite a boring fight. If it wasn't Shevchenko landing shots, I mean, I was going off on Twitter. I was hailing a little bit of abuse on Twitter, but X, as they call it now, as the kids call it. It was a boring fight. Farot didn't have any answers for Shevchenko in the grappling or in the stand-up, so she just clinched against the cage, where she did have the size of, she was bigger. She was a bigger girl. She has longer arms. There was a point where she still had her head on the chest of Shevchenko, and she was able to reach down and start grabbing for like an ankle pick. Like, she was a fair bit bigger, and she was using that to her advantage, and Shevchenko was just kind of stuck in those positions where nothing was really happening, but there was just enough taking place in the changing of positions, you'd say, that the ref wouldn't separate it. Not that they separate women's fighters anyway when they're in a clinch situation. So yeah, Shevchenko won, but a very boring fight. I remember saying on Twitter that the UFC intentionally planned for that fight to be boring, to make Belal Muhammad versus JDM look better by comparison. But then we actually got a banger. So moving on to the final fight of the night, JDM absolutely put a beating on Belal Muhammad. Now, I had round 1 and round 2 going to Jack Della Maddalena. Round 3, I think Belal ever so slightly, like by a crumb, snatched it away from being a draw. Like, it was so close to being a draw that round, and I think Belal just ever so slightly just stole the round from JDM. And then 4 and 5, unarguably JDM, in my opinion. Yeah, an absolute masterclass by Jack Della Maddalena. Got taken down twice, managed to get up. Every time he was taken down, every time he was put against the fence, he managed to just stay calm and get out of there. It was really impressive. Had Belal just pissing blood from his face. Like, you thought Belal was ugly before the fight. Belal was hideous after the fight. And, I was thinking to myself, man, that was the secret all along. They had to find someone uglier than Belal Muhammad to beat him. So they got Jack Della Maddalena. It was the battle of who's got the worst nose. Poor taste. But yeah, Jack Della Maddalena absolutely minced the face. Absolutely just pulverised the face of Belal Muhammad. And then listening to the commentary, I was listening to the commentary, and I was listening to Daniel Cormier just absolutely sucking off Belal. Absolutely wow, Belal's landing. Belal's whiffing these shots. Jack Della Maddalena's head movement was on fucking point. Jack Della Maddalena was bobbing and weaving. He had that figure of 8 movement, He had that figure of 8 going on. His hands were always up. Like, at no point, like, he was doing some stuff where he was playing with the range, but his hands were always, like, just glued to his chin. Just glued. I'll try not to cover my mouth for the microphone's sake, but hands just glued to his chin. Just glued to his chin. Always moving. Framing off. He's got that weird frame where he just frames with his head. When you try and take him down, he level changes with you and just frames off with his head or his guard without kind of extending his arms. And it works. Then he's in the range to start landing back because you've come in, you've exposed your body or your head to try and get this takedown. It worked really well. Great sprawls out of JDM as well. Absolutely nullified the grappling of Belal Muhammad and forced him to stand and have a stand-up fight. I think Belal thought he would have an advantage in the stand-up, like he would surprise JDM, but JDM just didn't give a fuck. JDM was just like, Okay, okay, you can throw some loopy, fucking uncoordinated windmills. It was a good display from Bilal Muhammad. We seen things out of him that we never got to see before. But there was you could see the difference. Like, Bilal is not an elite level striker. You could see that, and he was landing shots that, like, if somebody else was throwing them, like the body kicks, like, he'd land the body kick and it'd be like a nice little thud of a body kick. But if Jack Della Maddalena had thrown that same kick on him, it would have been like a thwack. It would have been like shaking the cage. Like, he doesn't have a lot of power in his shots, and we know that about Bilal. Like, even in the Leon Edwards fights previously, like, Leon should have just kept hitting him. Like, Bilal's got pillows for hands. If fighters just commit to whooping him and taking his best shots back, you're likely to win, because he doesn't have a lot of power. He's an excellent wrestler. He's excellent at controlling positions, but he doesn't have power in his hands. His kicks are actually pretty decent. To be fair to him, he was getting the leg up pretty high. He was throwing some crazy kicks out, landed some decent head kicks as well, some surprisingly fast and non-telegraphed head kicks as well, like a good kick game that we didn't expect to see from Bilal Muhammad. But he's got it apparently. It just weren't good enough. Absolutely brutalised by JDM. People were saying fucking 2-2 going into the final round. 2-2, delusional, absolutely delusional. People had it 3-2 to Bilal Muhammad. Delusional, absolutely delusional. I had Bilal Muhammad fans talking the most wildest shit at the end of the third round, and I was thinking, what? And then 2 minutes into the fourth, there wasn't a single Bilal Muhammad fan on Twitter anymore. There wasn't a single Bilal Muhammad fan out there. They all just fucking ceased to exist. They all went fucking silent because the writing was on the wall. Even DC absolutely sucking him off for missing jabs. Like, there was a point where he threw like 4 jabs consecutively, just trying to find JDM through all the blood, I'm assuming. That was definitely compromised his vision. But there was a point where he threw like 4 jabs consecutively in the 4th round, I think it was, and missed all of them, just wide. Terrible technique as well. Just kind of limp arming it, just throwing it out there, trying to find his opponents, probably so he could shoot or throw something over the top. I don't know. But he was just trying to find JDM. And then we have DC. Excellent jabs from Bilal Muhammad. None of them landed, DC. None of them fucking landed. Excellent entrance from Bilal Muhammad. Oh, he didn't get the takedown. Let's not mention how JDM got the fucking hooks in. Let's not mention how JDM got the sweep. No, excellent grappling from Bilal. It was embarrassing. Get Daniel Cormier off the commentary. Seriously. He's just fat. That's his only appealing quality. But yeah, excellent fight from JDM. And new, we've got a new champion, an actually entertaining fighter. Maybe not entertaining on the mic. And you know what? I won't even stand for that. He is entertaining on the microphone. People just, he's quiet. People just don't give him a chance. He's quiet, but he's understated, and that's a powerful thing. You know, that's aura. That's being understated and being able to like fight like he does. That should be aura, and people just don't see it. Like Ian Gary's son was trying to. Ian Gary's son, according to Jack Della Maddalena, Ian Gary's son was trying to ruin JDM's diet by giving him M&Ms. Was like kind of like a cheeky little cutesy media stunt by Gary. And when JDM was asked about it at the press conference beforehand, he's like, I don't even think that's Ian Gary's kid. I don't even think it's his son. And no one in the audience laughed, because it was Soy Canada and the fucking lapdogs of the UFC press, the absolute beta males. Just, oh, please, Dana, let me at the press conference. Please, I won't ask any hard questions, Dana. Please. But yeah, no one reacted to it. But all the real ones at home who were watching the press conference, we all knew this guy. He can land some subliminal, some little nasty little one-liners. So yeah, got a new champion, a much more entertaining champion. It's going to be interesting to see what matchups are going to get made now around this. I didn't expect JDM to win. I thought Bilal Muhammad was going to do a lot better in the grappling and in controlling against the fence. But no, JDM, perfect game plan. Perfect style to beat him. Everyone was saying this was a perfect stylistic matchup for Belal, but I disagreed in my picks video. I said it was going to be tough for Belal, but I definitely thought he'd be able to do it. I've never been happier to be wrong. Thank God we've been freed of the curse that is Belal Muhammad. Thank you, MMA gods. You have absolutely saved us from boring fights in the future. But that's going to wrap it up. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, keep your chin down, keep swinging, peace and love. I'll see you around.